Hello friends, today in this video let us discuss something about the Spearman theory of intelligence. As you know something about Charles Spearman, do not worry if you have a little knowledge about Charles Spearman. I am here to provide you that update you regarding Charles Spearman. We'll be dealing with his little bit life introduction about his life. Then we'll be dealing with the uh, definition or the concept behind how he came arrive at the theory of intelligence. So it's generally known as the two factor theory of intelligence. Why it is known as two factor theory of intelligence? Don't worry about that. We'll be discussing all these things in this video. Now let us start with a brief introduction of Charles Spearman. Who was he? Yes, you are right. He was English psychologist. Basically, he was trained as a military engineer. He left the military and decided to study experimental psychology under Wilhelm Wundt and earned his PhD in 1906. See, at that time, when 1879 in Leipzig University, Wilhelm Wundt started the experimental psychology lab. There was across the world there was an involvement of experimental psychology. So he was also attracted towards that field. And you see how it is contradictory. He was a military engineer and switched over to yes, experimental psychology, and in that he earned his PhD degree. Later, after earning his PhD degree, he joined University College of London in 1907 and remained there until his retirement in 1932 as a professor of psychology. This is a brief introduction about Charles Spearman. So you can understand how much he was interested and he switched his profession from engineering to psychology. So psychology is a wonderful field. Let us move something about that. Once he said that every normal man, woman, and a child is a genius at something. It remains to discover what. So that is the deepest statement he made. Means, and you can just not only judge, you can take a point from his writings that how he was the thinking, how his thinking was that he was optimistic and positivistic about the human nature because he sees something unique, genius, excellent in each man, woman, and a child. So this statement shows his optimism towards the human nature. And he said it remains to be discovered. Then comes this is the only field in psychology where one psychologist developed a very wonderful and significant statistical technique that we call as a factor analysis. So all other statistical techniques were discovered, formed by the various statisticians, mathematicians. But technique of factor analysis was developed by the one psychologist, and his name was Charles Spearman, obviously. And he was the founder of the psychological testing movement. Today we call it a psychometric assessment. He started that field because he could understand that individuals can be assessed, their psychological capabilities can be assessed using various psychological tests. So he was the founding member or is the founding father of the psychological testing movement. He discovered G factor of intelligence and proposed theory of intelligence based on that. So what was G factor and how we come to that? He used the same technique he developed, the technique of factor analysis, and come up with a two-factor theory of intelligence that generally we call as a Spearman theory of intelligence. So let us study something about this brief background about the Spearman theory. In 1927, while teaching and researching at University College of London, he proposed a two-factor theory of intelligence and he developed his theory using newly discovered statistical analysis technique known as factor analysis. He proposed that intelligence consisted of two factors or abilities. He named these abilities as a two factor. A general factor, he abbreviated as a G factor, and some specific factors, abbreviated as a S factors. Both are measurable by the intelligence tests. So this is the point he wants to make it here. Means everyone has some level of intelligence, but that intelligence which is measurable only, he focused on that. Out of that, Higgs said that there are two type of factors, two type of variables, that is G factor as well as S factors. Means his focus was on assessment, objective assessment of intelligence components that can be assessed through various intelligence tests. There was no subjectivity in that. The only point was you has to use various intelligence tests, collect the quantitative data, and that data is to be analyzed using various techniques and come up with the theory of intelligence, or you can quantify the intelligence. So that was the base of his theory. How he come up with? He come up with theory using the factor analysis technique. So now let us discuss what he mean to say about a general factor or G factor. According to him, G factor also is a native intelligence. Native means where you born. As far as geographical location is concerned, native means your forefathers, your fathers are living for centuries. So, but as far as Spearman's theory of intelligence is concerned, his using the word native for the G factor means that it is found among all individuals. It is common to all, but in varying degree. This ability, that is G factor or general factor, helps in reasoning, problem solving, and other mental operations. See, reasoning and problem solving are also mental operations. But apart from that, there are other mental operations such as attention, your memory, your decision making, then your information processing. All these are mental operations. These are undertaken by the G factor or general ability. These are the primary ideas, primary mental operations, your cognitive activities that are common to all performances. Whatever performance we do at any level, that time this G factor comes into picture. G as a construct refers to the overall mental capacity responsible for a person's performance of various cognitive tasks. Cognitive tasks, problem solving, decision making, your attention related reaction time, all are cognitive tasks. Here, let me explain you this point with an example. See that in previous point he said that all mental operations which are primary and common to all performances. Suppose take a simplest example. You picked up a pen. While picking up a pen, you require various cognitive activities. Suppose you know how to make decision making, whether I have to pick up this pen or not. If I have to pick up, from where I have to catch or hold of it. These are all decision making abilities. And for the purpose which you are picking up the pen. So during this picking up the pen is your mental ability, general mental ability. That is known as a G factor. This getting my point? Or you make uh, decisions, you solve problems at every moment. Simple. Today you are preparing for your examination. You have to decide which book is good, which notes are good, which videos I have to refer for my examination, how I must, which pen I have to use, or whether in suppose if you take in a humorous way, whether I should take a bath before examination or not. Various people are little bit apprehensive that if I take bath, I have come across various people. They said if I take bath before examination, everything will be washed away. So these are all decision making, some type of life that is life challenges that are thrown open by the life for you. You have to solve these problems, meet these challenges, make decisions. In all these performances, the major role played by is this one general ability, as said by Spearman, is we call it a G factor. So he used word innate intelligence. Then it is innate ability. Innate ability, we receive that gift from our parents in the form of our genetics or in the form of chromosomes. Means this is not neither learnt, and this remains constant throughout life, from birth to till we dissolve on the oblivion. So this is fixed. As per the Charles Spearman, every individual tends to have different amount of G factor, which I told you that we have all have G factor, G capability, general capability, but in varying degree. It is assumed that higher the G factor, better will be his overall intelligence. Means G factor, that is constant mental ability, that is innate, that is native, and have its major role in all performances, is directly proportional to the level of intelligence an individual have. Higher the G factor, overall his intelligence or overall his performances, better performances. So this is something all about the G factor. Now let us move to the another second factor known as the S factor or specific factors. They are also known as specific abilities. What is that? What do you mean by specific ability? The ability to excel in specific fields or areas. For example, writing. You are a good writer. You are a good dancer. You are a good sports person. You are a good gymnast. You are a good business person or a successful leader. You are a good manager. You are a good singer, athlete, artist, architecture. Thousands of fields are available. You are a good scientist. So these are the specific fields or areas where this S factor, what means, what Charles Spearman meant to say about the S factors means this is the ability to excel in various fields. Or one important point, these specific abilities allows, helps and support the people to excel in their respective domains which are their chosen one. The S factors are learned abilities which are dynamic and liable to go modification over time. So here is the difference. So you have to differentiate between G factor and S factors. The S factors can be more than one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas G factor is common to all. G factor is your native intelligence, innate capability that remain constant over your lifetime. Whereas S factors are dynamic. Dynamism is found in S factors which are liable to go modification over time, and as per the Charles Spearman, G factor cannot be enhanced or improved, whereas S factors can, means their specific abilities can be improved, can be modified over time by virtue of practice, by learning of new learning skill. So this is the basic difference between G factor and S factor. This ability means specific ability of intelligence varies from one activity to another activity within the same individual. Means whenever you're doing as one activity and you are doing another activity, your of the same field, your performance will be differ. And who is responsible for that? As specific factors. I know an individual, Dr. Das. He has various specific factors and he has excellent abilities in each factor. He is a good, you call it a very good singer. He is an excellent painter. He is a par excellent sculptor. He is a good writer. He is a good decision maker. I've seen him. And he's running a capital college of fine arts in New Delhi. You can just Google about him and you will find he is God gifted and prodigious in various abilities. It's a very strange that how these all abilities in him are par excellent. He performs wonderful in all abilities. So that is known as S factors. It means he's a master or he contains various specific factors. So that is known as S factor or specific factors. So dear friends, we found such people rarely. Then comes the number of specific factors or S abilities can be large, as I told you in case of Professor or Dr. Purushottam Das. And these are various numbers in various individuals and varying degrees in different individuals. Means some factors are a little bit lower, some are higher, but you will find each individual has G factor as well as S factor. So dear friends, these are basic difference between your G factor and S factor as far as two-factor theory of intelligence is concerned. Now let us conclude the Charles Spearman's T theory of two-factor theory of intelligence. will be summarizing in a very brief and crispy way. The whole concept of intelligence is the sum total of G factor and S factor. Means whatever intelligence components you have or intelligence variable you have, that is the sum of your G factor and specific factors. You know, G factor is constant and innate, while S factor or factors are learned, acquired, and dynamic, and they are liable to modify over time. Modified. The G factor is responsible for general tasks in each performance, while the specific tasks are responded by the S factors. The G factor is found to be available in specific abilities too. So this is a very important point you want to make it here. Charles Spearman. Means in specific abilities, there is a component of G factor also. I'll explain you with an example. For example, there is a great hockey player. So being a great hockey player or being a good or wonderful gymnast, you have two factors, G plus S. You are a player, you are a sports person. That is your ability, that is general ability or G factor. But you are excelling in a gymnastic or in a hockey. That is your specific factor. Because being a sports person is a general ability found in people, all people, and common to all performances. Because a sports person is also a footballer is also a sports person. Shuttler is also a grappler. So these are all sports persons. But being excellent in one field is your specific factor. Means G factor is found in specific abilities too. For example, take example of a good writer. Everyone writes. Writing is a G factor, general factor. But writing very good letters, good novels, writing good stories, poems, this is a specific ability. If you are a good poet, this specific ability, whereas being a good writer, you are writing, everyone writes, that is your G factor. So this is all about Charles Spearman's two-factor theory, where I put up one quotation written by me. It says, see, this also this indicates that you have some specific factors regarding writing some quotations. I read it out in Hindi. निर्भरता से शुरू होने वाला जीवन उन्हीं पर निर्भर होकर जो कभी आप पर निर्भर थे, जीवन चक्र को पूर्ण करते हुए समाप्ति की दहलीज पर कदम रखकर निस्तब्ध पंच तत्वों में विलीन हो जाता है. In English, see, it's a very interesting thing. Today someone, our children, our infants, our babies are dependent upon us, and life plays so wonderful game. In future, we will be dependent upon them. And finally, we started our life, we're dependent on someone, and finally, we'll be dependent upon the same individual, those who are dependent upon us, and our life ends quietly, transcended, and dissolves in the oblivion. That is the crude meaning of these quotations. So, dear friends, this was all about Charles Spearman's two-factor theory. These are my references. You can cross-check always, and you can read more. Now, next video will be, yes, your photo, the image itself says that we'll be talking about Thurston's theory of intelligence. By the time, if you have something to say, you can write in my comment box, or if you like the video, you can share with your friends. If you dislike it or something you want to say to me, you can just write in my comment box, as well as you can email me at varmasujit@yahoo.com. Once again, my dear friends, thank you for watching this video.